Hey, what's up, everybody? St. R. Edwards here. Welcome back to the Ski channel, Swift Coding for Everyone. We're going to continue on in lesson 3.1 when we're talking about optionals. In this particular lesson, we're going to go over optional binding. We're going to talk about failable initializers, and we're also going to talk about comparing optionals to the nil value. If I talk a little bit fast or faster than usual in this video, guess what? You have the power of pause and you have the power of rewind. So use it. Alright, so go ahead and open up a new playground and we're going to get started. So the first thing we're going to discuss is we're going to talk about comparing a value to nil, comparing a variable or constant to nil. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a variable. We're going to say, we'll say let publication year would be an int optional, and we'll just say it equals nil. Alright, and then we'll say if publication year is not nil, we're going to say let real publication year equals publication year. Alright, and then we want to print it. And we'll say print real publication year. Alright, and so we don't have an else statement in this particular example, but you can do an else statement as well. But this is what happens. So we have a constant, a constant int optional called publication year. If it wasn't nil, we reassign it to real publication year inside the curly braces, and we're able to use it and do what we want to inside the curly braces. But we assign that value of publication year into real publication year, and then we want to print that year. But since it's currently optional, or since it's currently nil, I should say, then of course it won't do anything. So what I will do is I'll give it a number. So we'll say 2017. Now we'll see what happens. Alright, so excuse me, down here in our console you see that 2017 is printed, but in front of it it says optional. Alright, so that's one way that you can compare your optional variables and constants to the nil value. Alright, so I would say comparing to nil. That's one way that you might see it, and that's one way that you could use it. Another way you can another thing you can do is you can do optional binding. Alright, so optional binding works like this. So let's say with our publication year, we're going to stick with this example. So we'll say, actually let's do something else. Let's say let some optional int equals whatever. Alright, some random numbers. Alright, so we'll say if let new optional equals some optional. We want to print it. Print new optional. Alright, so down in our console you see the number printed out, and it's because it wasn't nil. So the same thing sort of kind of happened. So what we did here, so we used the if let for optional binding, and basically what happened was the sum optional value was transferred into new optional, and it was unwrapped. So Swift unwrapped this for us, and we were able to use it in our print statement. Now you could do anything inside the curly braces, of course, with your variable, with your value, but we're just keeping it simple, just for example purposes. So it was unwrapped and it was transferred into new optional, and we printed it. And now if we were to erase, the value, and we were to put nil, of course, nothing will happen. Swift didn't unwrap it. This is like I like doing it this way better. Um, but you may be in a different situation to where you feel that comparing it to nil is sufficient enough, and so you can use you can use them here and there, wherever you feel like you need to use them. All right, so that's optional binding. Another thing we're going to talk about is optionals, options with functions. So there are all kind of functions that, of course, return values to us. Say, for instance, like we can do let some number equals, we're going to say 567. So some number is a string, right? Now let's say we wanted to convert this into an integer. So we're going to do this. So we're going to say let possible number equals int, and then we're going to open up a parentheses, and then we're going to put some number in here. So it's a string, but we're trying to convert it. Now let's see what we get. All right, so over here in the right panel, we got 567 without the quotation marks. So we've seen that, some number was able to be converted. All right, and so what I'm going to do now is, on the next line, I'm going to just print it. So I'm going to print some number, or just say possible number. And as you've probably seen there in that brief split second, it showed up as an int optional. And the reason it showed up as an int optional is because Swift inferred that for us, because there may be a case to where some number was not able to be converted into a integer, like for instance. So, and as you can see down in our console, again we have optional 567. So let's say this. So we'll say let random name equals Casey. All right. So then we're going to say let possible name, or possible number, I'll say 2, equals int, and then we're going to do random name. Of course, this is not going to work. So we got nil back. All right. And so, but again, if you were to hold down your option key, and then you were to click on possible number 2, as you can see, Swift inferred that it's an int optional, even though we didn't, explicitly, tell it that. So it's a very smart language. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase this stuff up here, just so we can, or actually I'll just comment it out. I'll comment all this out for now. All right, so what we're going to talk about now is Saleable Initializers. And this is how Saleable Initializers work. So say for instance you wanted to not create an instance of a struct or a class based off what what was given. You can actually return nil from the initialization, and so we're going to go through this process here really quick. So we're going to say initializers, and I've never used these before. Actually, this is the first time I've ever seen this. It's in the book. I haven't been taught this in any other course that I've taken or seen. I didn't even know this existed, but it's something cool that you could use. And we're going to go through real quick. So I'm going to create a struct just like it is in the book, and I'll just say toddler. And we're going to say var name, be a string, and we'll say var age in months. We're going to give this an int. Alright, and this is what we're going to do. So to use a Saleable Initializer, this is what we do. So we'll write the init keyword, and then you write a question mark right after it. And then this is what we're going to do. So in the inside of it, again, we're going to do name. It's going to be a string. Alright, and then age in months. This will be an int. Alright, and so inside of our curly braces, this is what we want to do. So we're going to say if age in months is less than 12, and we're going to use the pipe symbol. So you hold down shift and you click on the button with the backslash. That's the pipe. It's basically like an L. Or age in months, and that stands for or, is greater than 36 months. This is what we're going to do. We're going to return nil. Alright, so we return nil, and then we're going to say else. We want to initialize it. We want to say self.name equals name, and then self.age in months equals age in months. Alright. And now we're going to try to create an object or an instance from this toddler struct. So I'm going to say, we're going to say let first tot equals toddler. Open up our parentheses and we'll say name, say Joseph. And then age in months, we'll say, let's just say 11. Let's just try this out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to write an if statement. So we're going to say, we're going to do if let. We're going to do optional binding. We'll say if let first possible toddler equals first tot. We want to say print we'll say this is, and then we're going to go possible toddler dot name, and they are possible toddler dot age in months old. And then we're going to say else print Alright, so else we're going to say the toddler is not between the ages of 1 and 3 years old. And as you can see, our compiler, works very quickly. It already printed the toddler is not between the ages of 1 and 3 years old. So it wasn't even able to, we weren't even able to initialize this first tot or possible toddler object. But if we were to change the age in months, because also as you can see over here in the right panel, the age in months showed up to be nil. So what we're going to do is we'll just say 14 months. And then we'll see what happens now. So now this is Joseph. It says this is Joseph and they are 14 months old. Alright, so that is Saleable Initializers for you. So this wraps this lesson up, guys. Thank you for joining me on the Ski channel. This is St. R. Edwards checking out. You guys take care.